if I may say so. First, we have now discovered that the deployment of police officers is such that a police officer is sometimes deployed to an operational area for 10, 11, 12, 15 years, Mr. Speaker. You are recruited, you come from Bungoma, you are deployed to Tana River, and you go serve there for 15 years. And it is in a difficult operational environment. So what happens? That person, first of all, I was told this story when I was in Tana River, that a police officer had been deployed there. He hoped that he will serve there for 3-4 years because he was still in his early 20s. He would come back to marry at home and then serve in other places and where he can easily access his family and so forth. The Speaker, 10 years, 15, 12, what do they decide? They marry there, they live there, and one of the officers, I was told, had very serious mental health issues. Mr. Speaker, therefore, we need also to address the operational challenges that come. Mr. Speaker, if you send a person to go to work in Liboy, Mandera, and they're fighting Al-Shabaab and so forth, Mr. Speaker, you cannot keep them there for more than 2-3 years in an operational area. So, pursuant to our engagement, we have said there must be a determined period of time that a police officer can be in an operational area. Maybe at most 5 years, but at least, to make sense, 3 years. That means there must be a system of continuous transfer of police officers. You move from operational area, you come to an area that is less operational. You moved from operation, you come to less operational areas. That way, you are able to deal with, first of all, the mental health issues. Number two is the promotion of police officers. You promote them. Mr. Speaker, somebody stays for 25 years, 30 years, they've never been promoted. They feel totally disillusioned to serve as a constable from the day they were hired to 25 years. And Mr. Speaker, that again contributes.
I know many who have served as constables from recruitment to retirement.
To retirement. And,
yes.
And Mr. Speaker, I can hear, I'm overhearing, I'm not supposed to hear, but I've heard Honorable Mbui saying, like, our security officers, the bodyguards that are with you. Mr. Speaker, every Jukwaa la Usalama visit we've gone to every county, it is the leaders after that will give us names of officers who have stayed for a long period of time. So that is true what he's saying. But Mr. Speaker, so what kind of interventions are we said in terms of this long period of without promotion? As a result of this, we have agreed, and it has been presented to the board, that all officers who are still constables and they are 50 years and above will all be promoted automatically on merit and sent for training. Mr. Speaker, for all officers who are still inspectors of police or who have been corporals for also 15 years, Mr. Speaker, for more than 15 years, for 15 years and above, have stagnated at corporal stage, be promoted automatically and taken for training. And for people who have been inspectors of police, Mr. Speaker, for more than 10 years, be also promoted automatically and taken for training. That way, you help the police officers deal with their personal welfare and they feel like they are being cared of. But going forward, there must be a system that automatically helps police officers. Unless you have a serious disciplinary case, you must know that when you reach a certain level of service, you will have moved from constable to corporal to inspector and so forth and so forth. Mr. Speaker, the other issue now is working hours. And this is where I suspect, without prejudice to the case that is going on involving Mr. Boniface Kariuki, I was looking at him and I'm asking myself, why would a police officer shoot a civilian in such an incident? And Mr. Speaker, it points out, we suspect, you can suspect a mental health situation at that point in time. When you deploy someone, and this is where we need also to, as I said earlier, we need to deal with this issue of protest. When there is a protest in Nairobi, for avoidance of doubt, for people to know, the police officers are deployed from 6 the following day. You know, by 7, 8, 9, 10, they're already preparing to take position. Because if they don't take position, goons will take that position and come to town to burn property and so forth. So somebody has been deployed from 11 p.m. at night, okay? And given some snacks around in the morning. And occasionally, you know, sometimes they might be forgotten. But I mean, I'm just, you know, making true confession that if it happens that they were not brought for snacks, Mr. Speaker, they will be deployed. Now, the following morning, he is taking position the entire day. Now, the real mandamano starts at 1 p.m., okay? By that time, he's worn out, he's tired, sugar levels are down. So by 3 p.m., that person is extremely irritable. Extremely irritable. A small provocation, you insult his wife or his mother, you call him stupid, or at that point in time, their mental health status is of great challenge. So sometimes it's important for all of us to appreciate the operating environment of some of these police officers. And therefore, that's why we're insisting we need more police officers that can be able to cover for each other. But also, let's not create occasions where police officers have to manage criminals and gangs and so forth that are giving us problems. And Mr. Speaker, as a matter of fact, I have visited the training institutions of the police. All our police officers that are deployed to deal with serious cases like Al-Shabaab, among others, do not stay there for long, and they're always brought back. And before they are redeployed, they go through training, including counseling. And Mr. Speaker, I know, I don't need to mention within which institutions, but we have a very detailed program for dealing with those situations. The problem is the day-to-day police officer in a normal police station providing those services. There are very few counselors. The counselors now that are serving our police officers are only at the county headquarters, and they are supposed to move to different places, so different parts of the county. You may have in a county 17 or 24 police stations. To serve all those police officers is not easy. And therefore, we have agreed that in the next recruitment, we need to also focus on getting counselors, increasing the number of counselors so that they can reach out to these people. As I read in the statement, we are also working with their families to see how these counseling services can be extended to their families. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, is to point out that now in the National Police Service, drunkardness is not considered an offense, an act for this that can lead to addiction or alcohol addiction does not lead to your dismissal. It's now treated as a disease. And so most of our police officers who have been addicted have been taken to rehabilitation centers. And Mr. Speaker, a number of them have come back, Mr. Speaker, back to service. I know, and because we are leaders, you know that police station where people are sent, when they are drunk, they are sent there. So you have 13 police officers, but 10 are there because they are addicted to alcohol. So the only 3 police officers that are serviceable. Those are some of the things we have said it must come to an end. Transfer police officers to certain police stations, certain corners, because they are addicted, must also come to an end. So this is an area of reform that we have picked from our public engagements, and I assure you that we are going to deal with these issues decisively. In terms of health, mental health institutions, I agree that, first of all, in the entire society, mental health is considered, Mr. Speaker, a taboo. Yes, that is the word I was looking for. It's considered a taboo. And not just about the police officer, even us who are sitting here, even me, Mr. Speaker, to be able to manage the cases we deal with in this ministry, I have to be conscious that my mental well-being is important. So I must think about what things am I going to do, how do I debrief, what exercises can I do, what things can you do, and that's the same for the police. That's why we're saying police officers are now exposed to playing sports, boxing, exercising, running, and those who are able to do that and some are community activities, some are leading in churches. In fact, the police chaplaincy is very instrumental in terms of helping police officers to have debriefing sessions where they can be able to do this. And for avoidance of doubt, Mr. Speaker, as a result of the diligence of National Police Service, we have 2 teams in the Premier League. Mr. Speaker, the National Kenya Police football team are the champions of the Premier League. And recently, the APS Police Bomet qualified, Mr. Speaker, to Premier League. And then we have many athletes, world record holders. Mr. Speaker, our volleyball team is one of the best around. The same to volleyball, boxing, and many other sports. So we encourage sports within the police service. Ultimately, we need to reach a stage where the police officers, these are 120,000 people. So definitely, if you have 10,000 having a problem, it becomes multiplied. But we need to reach a stage where we have enough technology, and that's why the first question was important. We're having enough technology that we don't have to have too many numbers, so that you manage the numbers, pay them well, and challenge issues of mental health. Of course, sorry, Speaker, if you allow me this. Of course, the working environment of the police officers is also a serious challenge. Where they live, most of the police officers in the police stations are living in uni-arts. Mr. Speaker, a police officer with his family, their houses are partitioned with some kind of a sugar or a bedseat. Yeah, pazia, you know that one. Mr. Speaker, and you're asking yourself, how do these people live? Because for you to live well, you have to exile the next person living in the next day. You know what I'm saying? So it's really a problem. And you have children, you have deplorable working conditions. For those of us who have had this engagement at home, and even if you look at your police station, you'll realize your police station is the worst government office in the country, you know? And allow me to use this example. Sondu Police Station, when we were at Jukwaa la Usalama Kericho, we discovered that Sondu Police Station was built in 1932. It is old, it is completely in a deplorable state. Meanwhile, Sondu Power Generation Station was built over 10 billion shillings or so. Yet you have the police station here, they are supposed to provide security to this critical government installation. They just need maybe 10 million to build a good police station, and nobody cares about that police station. And those examples are replicated all over the country. So I request, Mr. Speaker, even as we have the debate about NGCDF, Mr. Speaker, NGCDF has done a fantastic job in building classes, Mr. Speaker, and education institutions. In fact, I came as a senator, Mr. Speaker. By the time I was coming to Senate, still a few places in my county we were doing Arambes to build schools. But now we don't go for any Arambe to build schools because of NGCDF. Mr. Speaker, if that can be extended to police stations and chief's offices, Mr. Speaker, and SEC's offices, this, I know some members of parliament do it, but it is done as it's almost like a CSR of the main function, which is to build schools. I will request, Mr. Speaker, a conversation based on my findings having gone around the country. I don't want to mention the counties that are doing extremely badly, Mr. Speaker, because I don't want to put leaders on the spot. That, Mr. Speaker, we need to come to a place where we can have a conversation between us and the NGCDF team to see how best we are going to achieve building our modern, good police stations with at least the OCS and the deputy OCS and the sergeant in charge of the armory getting accommodation within the police station so that we can provide proper services to the people of Kenya. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Robert Mbui, we are running out of time. A comment? Yes, half a minute.
Mr. Speaker, the minister said something very important that must be acted on. You cannot have a person who started working at 11 and by 5 o'clock has not eaten, holding a firearm. That, I think, should be changed in management of demonstrations. Even drivers which have these buses that troll, if you look at the time, at that time they are not in a mental state to work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In fact, Minister, when those policemen are on the streets, do you ever think even where they go to relieve themselves? Something as simple as that, a human nature call. Yeah. And you are there from morning to evening. What do? The hotels are closed because people are rioting. You can't enter any cafeteria. And they are human beings. A man within an age bracket of procreating, living in a small hut, and sometimes you find 3 families living in that hut, divided by a piece of cloth, and they have got human needs, and children are born in there, or sometimes an unmarried young man with a couple. You can imagine. But I was very impressed when Haika invited me to Taveta, and we went to an SCK church, and the guest preacher was a policeman. we were very encouraged. Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 67 of 2025 to the CS. First, could the CS provide the status of drug and substance abuse in the coastal region and indicate the measures put in place by the ministry to combat drug and substance abuse across the country? Two, explain whether the country has adequate facilities and infrastructure to effectively respond to mental health challenges and drug dependency cases. And third and finally, state the measures put in place to secure alternative funding for drug and substance abuse intervention programs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If you may just allow me, I don't want to allow this to pass on the previous question.
Yes.
In one of the Jukwaa ul Salama yesterday in Nakuru, one of the ACCs who has done research, DCC, said that there are 117 police officers in his research who have lost their spouses as a result of the transfer program that we have. So that then you live very far, families very far, and then people find their wives have gone. It was a wake-up call to me. In fact, he said 17 DCCs. The administrators have also the same. It is something that we might have to do a proper investigation. And then we ask ourselves, is it necessary really that a police officer must come from far to serve well? You know, why in other countries, and I'm not saying this is something we should change today, I'm saying long term. In other countries, police officer a sheriff is picked from the local community and elected. Actually, they are elected by the people to serve them. Might we have to change our policing strategy so that police officers will come from around the community and the community support them and people can live with their families? Then we reserve the special forces that are only deployed in a change. So it is something that long term we need to keep thinking, because we must be conscious of people's families. You're transferring a police officer or ACC, and they're asking these questions. If you transfer me, what happens to my children who are in the next school there? Will they move schools? And how many times will I move schools to other places? There are a number of things that we have to apply our mind insofar as these family issues are concerned. Let me go back to the right question, Mr. Speaker. We will have these discussions as we move on. The status of drugs and substance abuse in the coastal region. Mr. Speaker, on part one, the prevalence of any substance abuse, alcohol, cat, and tobacco in coast region is higher than the national rate. The region is largely affected by hard drugs like heroin, bang, muguka, especially counties of Kenya, counties of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, and Lamu. There is a worrying burden of alcohol and tobacco addiction in the region. The age group mostly affected are 15 to 35 years. The summary of the survey findings are shown in a table provided by NACADA based on their 2022 research, Mr. Speaker, which says that the national average of substance abuse in Kenya is 17.5%, while coast is 18.1%. It's higher than the national average. While for alcohol, is 13% in cost, while the national average is 11%. And for tobacco, cost is 10%, Mr. Speaker, 10.8, when national average is 8.5. And for cat, Mr. Speaker, you would expect muguka to be higher in the eastern part of the country, but it's higher in the coast, the 4.8%, compared to 3.6% national average. And cannabis sativa is the national average in the coast, which is 1.9%. So the government has implemented different strategies to address the widespread abuse of drugs and banned substances in the country using two main arms, demand and supply reduction. Mr. Speaker, under the demand and reduction initiatives, the government has implemented interventions on different settings. Integrated alcohol and drug use prevention in the CBC curriculum in schools. This is in schools. The other thing in schools is developed the national guidelines for prevention and management of alcohol and drug abuse in basic learning institutions. These guidelines target the students, teachers, parents, and entire school environment. It highlights how to implement prevention strategies in schools, identify students who use drugs or sell and such incidents management. 3, training of schools head principals on basic addiction skills and implementation guidelines. 4, introduced a life skill guidelines targeting grade 5 pupils on alcohol and drug use prevention. At the workplace, Mr. Speaker, there is alcohol and drug abuse committee trainings, baseline survey on institutional ADA situation, ADA policy development and mainstreaming, managers and supervision trainers on ODA, employee assistance program targeting ADA issues, sensitization of the ADA use triggers as highlighted in the baseline survey, informal sectors training targeting borders, Chuakali and Matatus. In terms of families, Mr. Speaker, developed parents guide to talking to children about drugs and alcohol, positive parenting programs in school and churches, developed age-specific booklets on ADA targeting children as young as 6 years to 18 years. These parents can read together with their children. In terms of communities, develop the community-based rehabilitation framework for substance use disorders to support implementation of treatment programs at the community level, developed the national prevention guidelines on ADA to ensure professionalism in the ADA prevention interventions, development the community coalition framework to guide stakeholders in the field of ADA prevention and forming work groups, advocacy and resource mobilization, developed the national ADA prevention system that maps out all the prevention stakeholders and documents what area the prevention or the practice target. This supports in identifying the gaps and spreading support equitably. Community barazas forums in collaboration with GAO, training of religious leaders on ADA to enable nationwide reach, supporting creation of county community work groups, CBOs, NGOs, CSOs, and FBOs, and training them on ADA and prevention mechanisms. Bar honor sensitization on the Act and 2010 and their responsibilities. Advocacy campaigns, mass media campaigns on newspapers, mainstream media, radio, social media, posters and banners and roadshows. Support in music and drama festivals, participating in ASK shows, webinars, among others. Under supply reduction initiatives, the government has, in collaboration with other relevant agencies, conducted nationwide multi-agency crackdown on illicit brews, non-compliant alcoholic outlets, and drug-through rapid result initiatives. Carried out regional specific multi-agency crackdown on illicit alcohol and drugs, conducted regular crackdown on shisha selling outlets in Nairobi and other major towns, conducted regional and county multi-agency forums to assess and address regional or county-specific alcohol drug abuse status through national alcohol drink control committees, conducted licensing of importers of alcohol drinks, and finally through National Alcohol Control Committee, inspected alcoholic drinks and manufacturers to ascertain levels of compliance to the set standards. Mr. Speaker, let me just say this before I read the last part, that again in our county visits, you realize that there is a problem that is internal that has largely been contained, the brewing of changa and all these other illicit brews internally at our homes. The chiefs and all these partners have been able to do a good job. The problem we are dealing with is the commercial, the industrial level kind of manufacturing, where, Mr. Speaker, the counties that are severely affected, because the manufacture, but also the ones that are transiting from neighboring countries. The top counties are Trans Nzoia, Mr. Speaker, Kakamega, Kisumu, Nairobi, Nakuru. Mr. Speaker, contrary to the public sometimes sentiments that counties, for example, like Nyeri, have high prevalence of alcohol. Nyeri, for example, is ranked number 17. But if you go to Kitale, Mr. Speaker, the biggest concern from Kitale is as a result of the proximity to neighboring countries and the smuggling of goods, including this adulterated alcohol. So what we have had to do, Mr. Speaker, also the side of Marsabit and Isiolo. Isiolo is a big menace in terms of drugs, Mr. Speaker, including heroin that is brought from neighboring country. Now,
Have you ever had a rally in Isiolo town?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, not just even a rally, even just walking through Isiolo town is a challenge. And Mr. Speaker,
It is so manifest.
so, Mr. Speaker, part of the reason, we used to get drug smugglers coming through the airports, but they no longer do so. They go to neighboring country, and I don't want to say countries' names because I've been in trouble before. Mr. Speaker, they go to neighboring country and they come by road through Marsabit, Mr. Speaker. And so a number, when I even went to Isiolo and Marsabit, a lot of these drugs have been confiscated, Mr. Speaker. And then they are brought to all the way to coast, or sometimes destined in Nairobi and Nakuru and other places. So, Mr. Speaker, there has been a massive crackdown of these drugs from the border, Mr. Speaker, together with operation of illegal firearms and gun, and in fact, most of the drugs and alcohol that come through these counties in the north, Mr. Speaker, are escorted with illegal firearms, Mr. Speaker, with gun holders. And all this has presented various challenges. And therefore, we have been carrying out very serious crackdown. What we have agreed is that this must continue in a multi-agency level. Mr. Speaker, we have also agreed with county governments, this is something we might need to take to the summit, that the licensing of wines and spirit shops, Mr. Speaker, which is, has happened across the country, must be regulated. We must balance the desire for revenue and the protection of lives of our people. Recently, NACADA also came up with regulations that want to move the minimum age of drinking to 21, among other measures, including where you can sell, the distance of where you can sell alcohol from where people live, among others, how to advertise, when to advertise, and all those policies have been put in place. Does the country have adequate facilities and infrastructure to respond to mental health challenges on drug dependency cases? Mr. Speaker, 95% of the rehabilitation facilities in the country are private, and this is a problem by itself. So many people are addicted, but you can only go to private. Private are largely, I don't want to impute improper motive, but theoretically, a private facility is driven by profit, Mr. Speaker. Yet, Mr. Speaker, so that means if I treat you and you become sick again and you come again, the better, Mr. Speaker, because it increases the revenue I get. I'm saying theoretically, I'm not saying that's what they are doing. But, Mr. Speaker, if it was public, then, we would put in place measures that will ensure that when we treat you, you go and get better because we don't have more public resources to be able to continue investing in the same treatment. So they are, and they are also expensive. NACADA is lobbying for SHA accreditation of the rehab facilities. The government operationalized the Miritini Treatment and Rehabilitation Center in Mombasa, which is to be a center of excellence on matters of rehabilitation. And I visited there myself. And I saw, Mr. Speaker, many people, professionals, doctors, nurses, lawyers, who are being rehabilitated, Mr. Speaker. So this is not a problem or a menace that is only targeting people who are poor. That, Mr. Speaker, it is also affecting professionals. The national government has partnered with 12, 12 counties to set up county rehabs, which include, these counties include Kisumu, Kisii, Elgeyo Marakwet, Taita Taveta, Kwale, Mombasa, Bomet, Nakuru, Uasin Gishu, Kakamega, Lamu, and Nyeri counties, Mr. Speaker. And we encourage more and more counties to build rehabilitation centers. I have also seen cases where our women members of parliament using GAF have proposed rehabilitation centers and working together with county governments for that reason. NACADA also inspects the rehabilitation facilities, around 300 in the country, and accredited those that adhere to national standards of rehabilitation for persons with substance use disorder. Regarding measures put in place to secure alternative funding for drug and substance abuse intervention programs, Mr. Speaker, NACADA is mandated to license, export, and import of alcohol drinks in Kenya as provided under the Alcohol Drinks Control Act 2010. 1 million liters and above is 1 million shillings. License fee, 500,000 liters and above is 500,000 shillings license fee, and below 500,000 liters is 250,000. However, the compliance to volume-based license has been very low, since the majority of the applicants declare the 500,000 1,000 liters, Mr. Speaker. This has prompted NACADA to engage Kentret to support with the onboard of import/export licensing of alcohol drinks onto the trade of facilitation program, single window system. Secondly, the national government is encouraging county governments to develop county-specific legal laws that provide for ring fencing of funds collected from the licensing of bars and other alcoholic beverage to support rehabilitation programs, including the construction of rehabilitation centers. Before I sit, Mr. Speaker, the other challenge that has been posed also from our national conversation is the cooperation with the judiciary. And this is something we need to think about. Two things I just want to point out. One is that the chiefs and the OCSs are expressing frustration that when they arrest a person with alcohol or drugs, Mr. Speaker, the bail terms are so low that sometimes this is what they have always told me, that, Mr. Speaker, they're either very low bail terms or sentenced to community service. And so, Mr. Speaker, one example that I was given, I think it was in Makueni, by an SEC, was that they took someone to court and then they sentenced that person for banking. Then they sentenced him for community service. Then the next day, that person was brought to slash grass around the compound of the SEC. So the wananchi who were part of the reporting that this person must be arrested did not understand that this was community service. They thought the SEC participated in the arrest and took that person to go and work for him in his compound. Mr. Speaker, number two, that is a challenge. Number two is the requirement that you have to test at the government, the courts insisting that you must take a sample of the changa to a government chemist before the suspect can take charge, can take plea. Or you must also go and test bank before, or marijuana before the suspect takes plea. Now, this makes it very difficult for the chiefs and the OCSs, Mr. Speaker. You know, the people at the local level, they are now asking themselves, me and you are lawyers, we know where that is going. But the person down there is asking, who doesn't know what is a changa?
Minister, I thought the law is you can be charged, but when evidence is brought at the trial, is when you need the government chemist report.
The problem now
At least when I was a magistrate or an active practitioner, that was the law. I don't know, Murugara, whether it is still the law.
Yes, that is still the position, that you do not have to have the results. You can actually be charged with all this. If you plead not guilty, then now they have to test and bring the evidence. If you plead guilty, it ends there. You are sentenced.
Now, Mr. Speaker, in some instances, these people, with their lawyers, come to court and they insist that before we charge my client, Mr. Speaker, we must first get a certificate that you are charging. What are you charging them for? And in most cases, the magistrate have acceded to that, and that has led to a problem. What we have proposed to them is that they need to use the Court Users Association, court user program within the county, sit together and agree. And in the places where the magistrates have appreciated the circumstances under which these people are operating, Mr. Speaker, thankfully, a lot has been done to contain illicit alcohol and the proliferation of drugs in those areas. Mr. Speaker, this is a continuous fight, and we are committed to make sure that we succeed as a country. I thank you.
Robert Mbui.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question was on drug and substance abuse, and there's an issue that the CS has mentioned that has also raised another question, because he kept mentioning Mugoka and cat. So I wanted to just wonder, is Mugoka and cat a drug or a cash crop as defined in law? But Mr. Speaker, the answers are very good, but sometimes I'm asking whether they're really factual, because when you talked about the curriculum, that is true, but then the training that you mentioned of principals and the community leaders on management of these, I wonder where and when this training has been taking place. Maybe you need to publicize it a little bit more to make Kenyans know. But Mr. Speaker, I agree, and I'm happy that he has said that the status of the abuse in the coast is above the national average. That's what I wanted to confirm, that it is there's actually rampant drug and substance abuse at the coast. So, Mr. Speaker, I just want him to consider the following things that could be even the causes of this. Could it be possible that being at the coast, maybe that is a point of entry at the port, so you figure out whether you can make it less porous? Two, is it possible that we have inadequate laws dealing with drug and substance abuse? Because you've alluded to some of the things that happen in our courts of law, and the House could also be able to help you to make it a little better. Is it possible that the penalties that are in law are not punitive enough? And finally, could it also be laxity on the part of the enforcing officers, that is the police and the chiefs? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Mwenje.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I just want to ride on the same. Honourable Speaker, for just the Cabinet Secretary, in Nairobi also we have this issue of drugs, Honourable Speaker. And one of the issues that we have peddlers in Nairobi who operate, especially in the Eastlands area, but generally in the whole of Nairobi. And Honourable Speaker, these peddlers are quite wealthy. They are able, and we've all heard from the CS himself that our officers also are not very well paid, so they are likely to be compromised. And in certain cases, even if you report to the local police officers, no action is taken because these peddlers are able to pay their way and continue operating. Is it possible for the Cabinet Secretary to provide a special unit, especially in Nairobi, where we can whistle blow where some of these peddlers exist and action can be taken without dealing with the local police officers, because that is where the problem starts from? Thank you.
Naomi Wako.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. My question is, of course, I'm just riding on this, and it is true that Waziri is already aware of what is happening in northern part of Kenya, from Marsabit, Isiolo. Our young people are largely affected, and it is like they have no future. Waziri, I would want to know what plans we have in place, even if we do not have rehabilitation centers, what plans we have in place, because some of these young people are graduates and their lives have already been destroyed, so that they can be taken to rehabilitation centers and be rehabilitated, and also see how they can come back to the community, because Marsabit is largely affected and Isiolo is also affected. The other question is, of course, we know that we have drug barons in Kenya. Why are we as a country not able to deal with this? And if we are dealing with it, can you tell us the measures that we have put in place so that we can reduce this? Because it is negatively affecting our country and the families. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. To ride on the same, I also want to thank Waziri for the good program that he has regarding the drug and substance abuse at the coast. That includes awareness and prevention. But there are those people who are already addicts. And I'm happy that Waziri also noted that there are some women reps that are using their funds, the NGAF fund, to do the safe spaces or rescue centers or the rehabilitation centers. But I also want Waziri to be informed that we are not getting the support that it requires. I'm one of the women reps that I am doing a rehabilitation in Taita Taveta. I have been struggling since my first term. It's now 7 years because the funds are little. So the small kitty is the one that I'm using, saving every time to try and make sure that the rehabilitation center is done, and I'm still struggling. So Waziri, you have noted that it is a problem, it's a menace in the entire coast, and so we need your support on that one. And Speaker, now that Waziri is here, I also want to mention a problem that we have, insecurity problem that we have in Taita Taveta, that includes our border riders. Our young border riders are being killed day to day, and their borders getting stolen. And we have done some investigation here and there, and most of them are telling us that these borders are the ones that they have taken on loan and they are paying in installments. Most cases, when they are almost are about to complete or to finish paying, it is when they are attacked and these borders are stolen. I don't know whether Waziri is aware of this case, but we really need your intervention on this because we have lost so many of our border riders in Taita Taveta because of such issues. So thank you, Speaker, for that opportunity. I need Waziri to intervene on that one. Thank you.
Betsimba.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na nimeshtushwa kusikia waziri akisema kwamba katika utumiaji na uuzaji wa mihadarati na madawa ya kulevya mkoa wa Pwani ndio umekuwa waongoza katika taifa zima. Na nimuulize waziri, ana mikakati gani, amepanga mbinu gani za kuzuia uuzaji na utumiaji wa mihadarati kupitia kwa mipaka, kwa sababu Mombasa, nikizungumzia Mombasa ama eneo bunge la Kisauni, hakuna mashamba ya heroin, hakuna mashamba ya bangi, hakuna mashamba yoyote ya madawa ya kulevya. Yanatoka sehemu tofauti kuja pale. Ana mipango gani? Ya pili, Mheshimiwa Waziri, una habari kwamba DCI wa eneo la Kisauni hawana magari, wanatumia baiskeli kutafuta wahalifu? Una habari hizo? Na unapanga vipi kusuluhisha hiyo matatizo? Asante sana.
Mr. Speaker, first let me say on the follow-up questions by Honorable Mbui, one is the training. Training is not just happening, it's not a particular school. These are weekend programs, working together with, collaborating with the Ministry of Education, for example, to put workshops at a different times. That's why even programs that NACADA is planning together with students and so forth is a continuous program. And so what we can do is to seek also support from ourselves as leaders and see we can organize public fora, maybe a tournament, and then before the finals of the tournament, maybe an NACADA can come in with training materials, awareness materials, those kind of issues. That's why these trainings are happening at this level. So once in a while, there's a meeting for principals in a particular sub-county or a county, then this training takes place and so forth, and creation of awareness. On the question of coast is a very unique place. It's because of the porous nature of the borders. So you know, coast is Lamu, it's in a border. Coast is Tana River, it's near the border. Coast is Taita Taveta, is definitely, in fact, part of the biggest problem of Taita Taveta is because in our neighboring, the other side, it's not very strict on matters of drugs and so forth. And I don't think they do even so much enforcement on matters of marijuana in the first place. It's not a big deal on the other side of the border, the same to Kwale. And then the coastline. You know, the coastline, it's not the port. It is also a porous coastline, and because very few places are manned with proper ports. But thanks to Coast Guard, we have been able to do a lot of work. By the way, if there's something that previous government did, particularly President Uhuru's government, was to deal head-on with the drug barons, and a lot was done. I was there when President Uhuru banned the whole ship that was carrying drugs in our first time, I remember. And so a lot has been done to dismantle the big barons. So what's happening is that, you know, the peddlers now are the biggest problem. Of course, they still bring with certain networks. What happens is that sometimes you are unable to get the baron themselves, but as long as you get the middlemen here, and you arrest them, dismantle the networks, and so forth. The biggest problem we face also is in terms of transit. So all this that comes from Ethiopia to Kenya, or South Sudan to Kenya, or Uganda, passing through Kenya, are not just destined in Kenya. Part of it is consumed here, but it's still finding its way to neighboring countries. Because this is part of transnational organized crime. So locally, I have told the chiefs and the assistant chiefs, the chiefs and the OCSs, that there is no way drugs and alcohol illicit alcohol can be sold in any part of Kenya without the knowledge of the chief and the OCS. So the ultimate responsibility is at that very local unit. Let them demonstrate that they have taken steps to report and crack down on these issues. Then another phenomenon that I noticed, and this is just for across the country, is that including that cost is that cannabis is also planted where there is a lot of insecurity. So the bandits, once they cover a place, they plant cannabis in that place, they consume, and they also sell. Interestingly, you will go to places like Isiolo, Samburu, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, where I come from. Once we did the massive operation on bandits, and we cleared certain places in Kerio Valley, we found that they have planted a lot of cannabis sativa along the river, and they could not have planted that amount of drugs if they were not having networks to sell them. We also had discovered that some of the police officers and the chiefs and the Ngao officers are major collaborators. And in most cases, either they are arrested and charged. Some where you don't have direct evidence to charge them, you transfer them, you bring back to office so that they are not in certain areas where this menace is going on. So it never really, these things never really happen without the participation of a police officer. Either they have a cover of a OCPD or a sub-county commander or a county commander. In Kitale, for example, we went and when we were going for Jukwa, we had a tip that there were a lot of cannabis sativa and adulterated ethanol that was being sold. So the Deputy Inspector General of Police went with special team, and they went with the Nakada and did an operation. And the guy confessed that, how did this happen? Who told these people that this was here? He said, raids never happen without my knowledge. This must have been done without the knowledge of the officers on the ground, you know? So it is clear that this is something that we must continue fighting, deal with the police officers, deal with the administrators, but we should not wait until a minister. In fact, I am not subscribing to this idea that the Cabinet Secretary office should be put some money to fight alcohol. It must be infused in the day-to-day responsibility of the OCS and the chief. So that if you are sorting mobility for the chief, you are giving them motorbikes or OCS or OCBD or whatever, take the resources there, and as they do all other crimes, they deal also with these issues. In the past, we've had situations where certain officers are given certain money to fight alcohol, only for very little amount of that money to go anywhere, and then you do some raids and media coverage and all that. After 3 months, you know the thing is over. What we are now trying to work on is to be continuous, to be in your JD as an OCS and your JD as a chief. If we put it at that level, we'll be able to make great progress. We have the penalties in some cases. Penalty is not the problem. It's how the magistrate applies. Remember also, in these areas where there's compromise, also the magistrate is compromised, or a judge. For as long as the police can be bribed, the magistrate also can be bribed. So the problem is the application of that law by the law enforcing officers. And then we know we have the Honorable Mwenje, we have the anti-narcotic police unit, but it's still a small unit. Our conversation was now to make it a more fully fledged, like the anti-terror unit, because this is really destroying our young people. And even in the next recruitment, there is a plan to make sure that some of the officers are already working, but in different places, can be trained and posted to support the DCI unit of anti-narcotic, and then the new officers that are coming in can replace them in the different areas. On the question of rehabilitation of young people, this is a continuous there is no really good budget for rehabilitation. There's no budget in ACADA, neither is there a budget in any office for rehabilitation. That's why you see it in different places. And the best people, this is a function that should be done by county governments. The best thing is for some of the county referral hospitals and the sub-county health centers should have a wing for rehabilitating these young people, because it's a medical problem that we can be able to do it. But we should continue supporting, like Honorable Aika said, this GAF money, and the ladies have the noble idea to do it, but the money is very little. If you have 6 million in our whole county, there is only so much you can do in different things to please everybody. And if you go and put a rehab in one constituency, they say, oh, you're ni auko. You know, can you explain to us what have you done for us here? In fact, I really feel for sometimes the women MPs, it's better to be a senator. I was a senator before. Nobody will ask you how much money you have. But for you, you have little and they think it's a lot. So that is the challenge. But it is important to partner. I wish they would have a buy-in from the county so that you can put part of it and the county can put part of the resources to support it. That is that. And then proceeds. There's also something we are muting. It's not enough to get the drugs and the ethanol and to confiscate. If we can do further, and this is something we are having conversation, how best can we go for the proceeds of crime? You see, this person is a baron, he's selling ethanol. Ethanol one container is 50 million, okay? Even if you arrest him and you give him a fine of 1 million, he will pay and continue. But if we went for his accounts, like it's being done for confiscation of proceeds of crime, that money can come in and help us to buy vehicles and other equipment, build rehabilitation centers, and it will be more punitive than the normal court process. So in the 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, when I was launching the NACADA policy issue, this is something that we agreed we can pursue and work together with other agencies to deal with this. On the border riders for Honorable Ika at your border, they are stolen in Taita Taveta and taken to Tanzania. That is the challenge we have. And what has been happening when I was there for Jukwa, we agreed that the county commissioner should have a better working relationship with the county commissioner on the other side to see how best. Because some of that cooperation, especially in Tok in the Tana, and because it's happening also in Kajiado, has helped depending on how our leaders on this side are able to engage the leaders in the other side of Tanzania to help us to deal with this. But it's a menace. When we went to Taita Taveta with the IG, he changed the police officers in that place because of that menace. And we hope that the new police officers who have come there will be more accountable. It is true, Ben Simba of Kisauni, many police stations don't have vehicles. Many police stations. Actually, we have a shortage of almost 50% of vehicles across. And you know that the government has been working on a procurement process to get another lot of leased vehicles. We believe that we should be, in this first quarter, we should make very good progress. And once we get those vehicles, we have told our officers on the ground they must be willing to share. There's no vehicle for Kenya Police Service, and there's no for Administration Police Service, and there's for DCI. They must be able to pull, particularly in counties like yours, where many places are reachable, they must be able to find a mechanism to share the vehicles. But also we have a problem of fuel. But that's not a problem in Mombasa. You know that most of the leased vehicles to the police station, there's only 450 liters of fuel, which is collected at the designated center. So you are in Kibish in Turkana, you come and collect fuel in Kitale, 450 liters. So you come all the way to Kitale, collect 450, and you go to Nairobi. You are in Ilret, and you are coming to collect fuel in Nanyuki. I think it's Nanyuki. You've come all the way, and you are going back to Marsabit, to that part of Ilret. And then the remaining fuel, you cannot even do an operation within a month. It's finished. Thanks to Jukwa, we have agreed we move it to 650, but we work on the leasing program to see how best this can be moved forward. Asante sana.
Zamzam. Umulher, I saw a communication from Zamzam nominating you to ask a question. Are you ready? Go ahead. That is the last question of the day.
Thank you, Speaker.
Yes, Anna, what is it?
You allowed me that I should be asking a question on the basis of having an addendum, sir.
I said this is the last question of the day on the order paper. There are still Cons Rai with an issue of a disappeared person and yourself. And it will depend on whether they have been furnished to the minister or not. Tongo is here, he will help us. Yes. Yours was just a point of order that you wanted to raise. Omolher, go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary clarify the circumstances under which Mr. Hassan
Minister,
was...
this is a very narrow question. You should take less than 5 minutes on it. Go ahead. Start.
Could the Cabinet Secretary clarify the circumstances under which Mr. Hassan Wasionga Ismail, who applied for a national ID card in Kisumu County in 2020 and was denied identification cards for over 4 years, and in March 2025 reapplied for another ID card, only later to be arrested and charged with robbery with violence, allegedly linked to an ID he had never collected? Provide details on the status of Mr. Wasionga Ismail's original ID, including information on who signed for its collection, when and where it was collected, the phone number it was used to register, and the identity of the person currently in possession of the phone that allegedly received the stolen funds. State the actions taken by the ministry to address the issue of stolen or misused ID cards, particularly how many similar cases have been reported or under investigations involving innocent individuals like Mr. Wasionga Ismail. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, following a review of our records, it has been established that Mr. Hassan Wasionga Ismail applied for a national identification card at the Otongolo Division Registration Office in Kisumu West Sub-County in 2020 through serial number 24732356551. A national identity card number 39226153 was duly processed and issued on 5th June of 2020. Duly processed and issued. It's important to clarify that an individual is issued with only one national identity number in their lifetime. New serial numbers are, however, generated for tracking purposes in every instance of replacement. Mr. Ismail has only ever been issued with ID once, and no replacement ID has ever been issued under his name or ID number since 2020. Regarding the claim that he was denied his ID card for 4 years, our system shows the card was produced and ready for collection within the standard processing time. Any delays in collection may not have been due to systemic failures, but may have arisen from procedural or personal issues, which are subject to further internal review and ongoing investigations by the DCI. It is deeply regrettable that Mr. Ismail was arrested in connection with an ID card he allegedly never collected. The ministry takes such matters seriously and is working closely with investigative agencies to uncover how the identity may have been misused. We remain committed to upholding the integrity of the national identification system. Mr. Speaker, on part 2, as stated earlier, only one ID card has ever been issued to Mr. Hassan Wasionga Ismail, in line with our standard operating procedures. ID cards are collected in person at the registration office where the application was submitted. The applicant must present original application for registration acknowledgement slip, commonly known as the waiting card. In some exceptional cases, a parent may collect the card on behalf of an applicant upon producing both the waiting card and their own identification. Since also it is the parents that help the children to get the ID. In the event of a lost waiting card, the applicant is required to provide police abstract or a letter from a chief confirming the loss. Currently, our officers are actively tracing the manual ID collection register for Kisumu West Sub-County to confirm whether this standard operating procedure was followed at the time of collection. Regarding whether the ID number was misused, the phone number used to register transaction linked to the ID number and the person currently in possession of it. I wish to inform the House that these matters are under active investigation by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. The Ministry will provide an update on the National Assembly once the DCI completes the investigations. On part 3, Mr. Speaker, this case is highly unusual but suggests a complex misuse of identity credentials. While the Ministry cannot at this time provide precise figure of such cases, we acknowledge that incidences of identity theft and misuse of identification documents are increasing globally, and Kenya is not immune to this emerging threat. To strengthen the integrity of the national identification system and protect innocent citizens, the Ministry has undertaken the following actions and plans to enhance them further with the support of this House. One, modernization of integrated population registration system, IPRS. The IPRS is being upgraded to enable government and private institutions to perform real-time know your customer verification. This will ensure that only the most recent and valid identity credentials are used in service delivery. Two, implementation of a national digital identity system. This system will allow citizens to digitally manage their identification credentials, including flagging lost or stolen IDs instantly, and limiting the window of opportunity for criminal misuse. Three, automation of ID card issuance and collection. The ministry is planning an automated system that will link ID collection to biometric verification, requiring a fingerprint match with data stored on the ID chip at the point of collection. This will eliminate unauthorized third-party collection and bolster accountability within the identity ecosystem. Four, enhance the public awareness and legal framework. We are reviewing the legal and administrative framework to introduce harsher penalties for identity theft and the fraudulent use of national identity cards and documents to educate the public on the safe handling of ID credentials. The ministry respectively seeks to support the support of this House in prioritizing funding for these initiatives to ensure that the rights and identities of Kenyan citizens are protected comprehensively and effectively. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Bwana Waziri. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of Madam Zamzam, she asked me to let the Cabinet Secretary know that there's a case of somebody who's been arrested in Kisumu with over 800 IDs, and she suspects that Mr. Wesonga could be a victim of such a case and requests you look into the matter. Thank you, because the gentleman was arrested and she released him from custody.
Speaker, because Honorable Zamzam is not around and Mr. CS, Honorable CS, he is not sure if Hassan picked the ID himself. So I think this question...
He said investigations are ongoing.
So that's why, Mr. Speaker, sir,
yes.
What I'm saying is this question or the answer after the investigation should be brought back to this House so that we make sure what happened.
That's a fair request. Minister, once the investigations are over, you can communicate to the House through the chair of the committee. Oundo.
Honorable Speaker, on the same issue of IDs, I just want to make a request to the Cabinet Secretary. There are very many young people who are joining colleges and universities, and they have applied for IDs and that have waiting cards. Is there a measure, is there a way you can ensure this rapid process of the IDs so they're not inconvenienced when they have to operate bank accounts after they get the so-called boom? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Kipepeo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was there when Honorable Zamzam was requesting that there was an innocent young man in jail suffering on behalf of somebody who picked his ID and they came for him. We might be having more innocent people in jail suffering on behalf of those who are very good at picking people's IDs. So the chiefs and the assistant chiefs, those who help out, how can anyone pick somebody's ID, yet they know very well these children from their background? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, quickly, it should take...
Minister, as you, because that is the last opportunity on this, as you answer that, in the good old days, we used to be issued with IDs before you leave school, before you prepare to go to university. Why can't you help the country by issuing students with IDs, those who are in fourth form? So because without an ID, they cannot process their documents to university, they can't get their boom, they can't open bank accounts, they can't do anything. Why can't you institutionalize students leaving schools with IDs? subject to, of course, age qualification.
Mr. Speaker, first let me say that a lot of reforms has gone into this area of IDs. Only this year I gazetted, Mr. Speaker, I issued a gazette notice taking away all the, or removing all the fees. So taking an ID now is free for the first time. So that was the directive of His Excellency the President, that we issue IDs for free, and I did so. Mr. Speaker, you remember the President last year also removed unnecessary restrictions that was affecting border counties like your county, all the way to Kisumu, Migori, Narok, Kajiado, Kwale, Lamu, Garissa. You know, some people just, in their heads, they think about Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. They don't realize that the same problem was all over the place in every county. And therefore, including Busia and all these other counties, including West Pokot and Turkana. So all border counties were suffering unnecessary extra verification. And so that has helped a great deal. I went to Kitale during the Jukwa, and I was shocked that within a time of 1 hour, 200 people had registered for ID, because in the Jukwa La Usalama program, we go around, we go with live capture machines that are being tried, and where you register the person and you don't carry anything. All the information comes to the headquarters. The chief is sitting there, the registrar, the fingerprints, and then it can easily be printed. And counties which are vast, like Kajiado, for example, require that kind of live capture machines to take it to the interior parts to make sure that people are reached out in Kajiado, Kitui, Northeastern, and other places. So those are the reforms that we're working on. In fact, the only remaining thing now with the live capture machines, and I wish I would demonstrate it here, but those of us who have been together, either in the office or when I came for Jukwa in your place, you saw that machine is portable. You can carry it using a border, you know, and you only need 3 people. You have the machine, and you only need the registrar, the fingerprint officer, and the chief to be present. So it can be done mobile, so that that approval is going to be done. And going forward, that's going to be the practice. Now, it takes only 3 days to get an ID. Anything beyond 3 days is but for us, in terms of issuance, it takes 7 days to make sure that 3 days is ready in Nairobi, and then, because in most of the parts of Kenya, it takes only 1 day to fly those IDs to different parts. And many IDs are lying in various registration offices at the local level, unpicked, you know. But most of these young people who are going to college have been picking their IDs of late. There is need for a program for sensitization of delivering those IDs in areas where it takes more than 7 days. Okay, let's say even if it is worse, it takes 14 days. It should not go beyond 14 days. In those beyond 14 days, there is a problem, and that we now need to find an online mechanism where people can report and check and track. And those are some of the things I was reading here, that we want to put a tracking system so that someone know the delay is at the headquarters or at the delivery at the local level. And Kenyans have become very active. And then, so this mobile registration also will now help us to get the school programs. The good thing is that, by the way, the real truth is that mobile, registration centers for IDs are fairly covering most parts of the country. The marginalized areas are the ones struggling. But the birth certificate and the death certificate is less accessible. So you go to a county, it has 17 centers for IDs, but has only 2 centers for, like which county? Like Nakuru. You have only 2 centers. Or was it Nakuru? No, there was a county which has only 2 centers, but it has about 17 for IDs. So the point is that we want to work on, it was Narok actually, because we were with the chair, it was Narok. So we need to work on there. We are working on the registration center, and we are also trying to debate if we remove the fees on IDs, if we get proper guidance, we can remove for birth certificate, because that is more needed by younger people registering for school and so forth, except for lost documents. So, Mr. Speaker, you're right. Once these gadgets are in place, school programs will be easier. But school programs are still ongoing. It's just that we need to make it more frequent everywhere. And then ultimately, with the growth of technology, our hope that ultimately you don't have to apply for ID. Just need to get your birth certificate. And once you are in the system, you pick your ID when you are 18. You know, when you reach 18, you move with your ID. You don't have to come and apply again. How can someone pick somebody's ID? That is the subject of investigations, really, to find out what exactly happened in the situation of Ismail. And in other cases of theft of identity, that needs to be done. For example, I went after Maandamano. I went to OTC, and I saw many IDs are all over the place, you know. Nobody has given me an explanation why we had so many IDs in some places and it was not chief's office and so forth. So most likely there are these characters who steal from people, steal people's identities, and they want to use it. And Mr. Speaker, these investigations will help us a great deal to know exactly, to refine our systems of, from issuance to collection, what exactly happens within the ID, and especially in this case of Ismail. I thank you.
Yes, Jessica, what is it?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I've been raising my hand and you've not caught my eye, but thank you for you've caught my eye. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the...
It is you who caught my eye. I didn't get your eye.
Yeah, because I've been raising my...
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, you know I've sat in your seat for 10 years. And mine is just to confirm before the minister finishes his submission. Based on the question from the honorable member, Mr. Speaker, how long, you should be telling us, how long will these investigations take place? Being the minister and in charge, you cannot tell this House that investigations are going on. You should be able to tell us it will take us this time. Thank you.
Yes, Minister. How long?
I think, Mr. Speaker, the safe side of the story is that Ismail is not in confinement as a result of this theft of identity. That's important first, that the part of where he was picked as a suspect. But how long the investigations takes, investigations only takes the time investigation takes is up to the conclusion when you get the suspect. And until we get that suspect and refine these processes, I think it is important to remain patient to deal with this issue. But what you can get from me is that we are not going to let go this issue because it is appointed to other problems. So it's not one of those things that you will say, okay, it's okay, the guy has been sorted, let's move on. It's important for us in terms of tightening the systems for issuance of ID. So take it from me, we'll take it very serious. And I hope that, Mr. Speaker, in the next few weeks, I should be able to send, the way you directed in the other statement, to be able to send an update on how far this investigation has gone.
Minister, you can sit there and take questions from these members. If you have the answer, you can give it, because this is now an ambush. These are questions that were asked to your committee chair. Gonzrai, after Gonzrai, Sane, after Sane, Tubi. Tubi, you had already seen me. Why are you raising your hand again and have your name here? Tubi, after Tubi, Adan Daud said he has just a point of order about the management of your affairs with the committee. Yes, Naomi, you are not on the list.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what I need to know from the minister is that on the 16th of July, 2024, Mr. Charo Karisa Mae was abducted by unknown people believed to be security agents while traveling from Mombasa to Malindi. The matter was reported at Malindi Police Station by the OB number 30/16/02/2024. To date, Mr. Charo Karisa Mai has not surfaced, and we are actually wondering whether he's actually being held anywhere by any security agents, and if he's being held, under what authority and the location, because what we want is his whereabouts. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is on Mr. Hussein Abdurrahman Mohammed of ID number 2672739, who has been a former Assistant County Commissioner and currently the manager of Huduma Center in Wajir County, who went missing on 8th July 2025. My questions to the CS is to give report on the status of investigation into the disappearance of Mr. Hussein Abdurrahman Mohammed, measures taken by the government to ensure that Mr. Hussein Abdurrahman Mohammed is found and reunited with his family, and finally steps being taken to enhance the safety and security of residents of Wajir North constituency, including measures by security agencies to promptly investigate and resolve cases of missing persons, including one Isa Bole Mohammed, who is missing for 2 years. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Toby.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine was almost 2 months ago. Isiolo was in problems. Isiolo had security problems, and I raised the question, a statement here, to be answered by the chairman. It did not come, and this morning I received it. It has something to do with the Isiolo problem, and I'm not satisfied with the statement, with the answer which I was given. This one talks about Isiolo. The problem emanated, we used to have Isiolo having banditry and all these things. These days it's not about banditry, but problems in town. The problems in town emanate from political and something imported into Isiolo. Now, the problem we are having right now is the issue of a constitutional mandate being done by the members of the County Assembly against the Speaker on accountability. And the whole thing, goons were brought into Isiolo County, and there's a lot of death and injuries which has happened. People are living under threats and intimidation that county assemblies will not hold this meeting. That is what it is. And then the help of the government itself, the police and everybody, was nowhere to be seen. County assembly was vandalized. Everything was moved from that in presence of the police. And the governor is the person who is doing this. And as if he's above the law. And that is not the only first one. The governor was known to have done the same thing in City Hall some time back. Now we are getting the same face. Whatever you're talking about today, about drugs and all these things, has something to do with a new phenomenon in Isiolo. Then the minister can tell us what exactly have they done. Thank you.
Yes, Naomi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll take the House back to the ID issue, the issuance of IDs. Number one, I want to say a big thank you to our President and to the Ministry for the issuance of IDs to the people. In fact, our people feel that this is the time we have gotten independence. My question is on the number of days that people that they take to release the ID cards, because it has taken quite some time. Some people have been waiting for the last 6 months, others have been waiting for their cards, for their ID cards for the last 1 year. How can we make it more effective even for the people in northern Kenya? Again, the other question is on the waiting cards that people sometimes use, especially on the border of Moyale. As they come through to Marsabit, they struggle because they are not allowed to travel with their waiting cards. What can we do so that at least they can use their waiting cards to travel even to Marsabit? The other one is good news, high schools in Marsabit. In fact, I think we may be leading in that. The officers in place have been doing that, and we are happy with that progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Mine are also two quick questions that I had raised earlier.
Yes,
Thank you, Speaker. There's a question I had raised 2 months ago on the missing cases of young men, and this particular case is of Abdirizak Kiale from Dadaab constituency. The statement through the chair was not very sufficient, but it almost answered the question. So the brother is back. He was released after 2 weeks, but his other brother, who they were abducted together by the police, is now missing for 2 years. On behalf of the family, I'm requesting for quick interventions and an answer on that. Thank you.
Bogoyo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the CS and appreciate his efforts of subdividing Kajiado North into two operational sub-counties to have OCPDs. But Waziri, I have, in my efforts, made complete all your police stations built by NGCDF. All your chiefs, and the last one is going to be housed by NGCDF, 100%. We still have a big problem with personnel. And you can look at, out of the 290 constituencies, Kajiado North has the highest rate of buying land, building police posts. All your chiefs are built by NGCDF, and land bought for security. Your police station in Kiserian is bought by NGCDF, built by NGCDF, but no increment of even one police officer, even after building all those stations. And the worst is Gataka, where we house Cooperative College, the universities around there. Our students are being manned there. The command station around there is still a problem. So I'm still appealing to you, CS. What are you doing? Because we are building, as per your request, approved by your planning department in the National Police Service. What are you doing to increase the personnel for Kajiado North constituency with the support of NGCDF? And I repeat again, the Kajiado North NGCDF has 100% done all your police stations, all your chief's offices, magnificent.
You are repeating yourself. Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I just want to inquire from the CS, because I recall a couple of years ago when you were finishing Form 4, we would actually apply for IDs while in school and get them by the time you're finishing school. I just want to know if that is still happening, because that then would be very helpful.
You already said it is happening, but it's not adequate.
Oh, okay.
So the issue is adequacy. You even had Naomi Wako boasting that Masabit is doing very well. So what you need is to step up, Minister. Daud, what's your point of order? Then Minister, I'll give you under 10 minutes to respond to all those.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is first to appreciate that the Minister has come to the House today to answer all these questions. But, Mr. Speaker, there are many statements we have asked in this House, and responses given through the chair of the committee in charge of internal security. But most of the two statements that I sought, the responses were inadequate. You ordered that the Minister comes in front of the committee and answer them himself. Mr. Speaker, we have been given 2 dates to come in front of the committee. And the last minute, we are told that the Minister is not appearing. So I wanted you to reinforce your order so that the Minister can come in front of the committee again and answer those questions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That is easy to dispose of, Minister. You are ordered to appear before the committees when you are invited. That is a duty. You can respond to the others.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Just hold on. Kagusha. Let's take the last
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just want to make an appeal as well to the CS to kindly provide police officers and personnel for Gumba Police Post and the Kibutio Police Post in Mukurweini in Gekondi. The two police posts have been constructed, and now they are ready for occupation. And we have also distributed this to your staff at the local level so that we can be able to have them occupied and serve the people of those two areas. Thank you.
Minister, you can now respond.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
10 minutes.
I definitely, of course, just like the House, we have a good working relationship with the committee. And I know the member is not a member of the committee, but it was his question. It was only that we agreed with the committee because of the program at that point in time. Twice we were unable to meet. But in the next one, I'll make sure that respond. Mr. Speaker, on the question of, the first one was Mr. Charo. Mr. Speaker, the Member of Parliament of Kinango constituency, Gonsrai, has requested this statement. And Mr. Speaker, on 16th of July 2024, Mr. Wanje Karisa Mai reported the disappearance of his brother, Mr. Charo Mai Karisa, aged for 20 years at Malindi Police Station via OB number 3016/7 2024 at 10:57 hours. Karisa indicated his brother, Mr. Charo Maya Karisa, had traveled to Shanzu in Mombasa County as for 15 July 2024 at approximately 5:00 hours and had since become unreachable with his mobile phone switched off. He further states that he had received information from Kahindi, a matatu driver, that his brother was abducted by a non-masked gunman along the Mombasa-Malindi road. An inquiry file number 16 of 2025 was subsequently opened to establish the circumstances surrounding these allegations. The case remains under active investigations. On the measures, Mr. Speaker, the government remains firmly committed to upholding constitutional Kenya and safeguarding fundamental rights and freedom of all citizens. The service refutes claims of enforced disappearance, which is not sanctioned activity of the state. Such acts are criminal in nature and perpetrated by individuals or organized criminal elements acting outside the law. To mitigate and respond to these incidents of abduction and to enhance public safety, the service has instituted the following proactive measures. A dedicated response team domiciled at the DCI headquarters was formed to swiftly handle the reported abduction cases. 2, the police will conduct investigation to all reported cases, ensuring prompt arraignment in court of law of those found culpable to deter future criminal activity. Members of the public are encouraged to report these matters to the DCI. Revitalizing community policing initiatives to improve access to information and collaboration with the society, and strengthening both the foot and mobile patrols prevent crimes while reinforcing police visibility in key areas to ensure that people are not being abducted. In line with the constitutional mandate, Mr. Speaker, and commitment to upholding the rule of law, the government has put in place a series of measures to safeguard the rights and dignity of arrested persons, including enforcement of the 24-hour rule, regular training and sensitization of officers on the human rights, mandatory documentation of in occurrence book of any injury sustained by a suspect during arrest, and ensuring the arrests are lawful, proportionate, and based on sufficient grounds, including obtaining court orders where applicable. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the next one of Mr. Speaker, Mr. Hussein. Hussein is the Huduma man, right? Yes, that's correct. Mr. Speaker, sorry, I was ambushed, so I'm using my phone. Mr. Speaker, on the Member of Parliament for Wajir North constituency, Honorable Ibrahim Sane, has requested to be apprised on the disappearance of Mr. Hussein Abdurrahman Muhammad, the manager of Wajir Huduma Center. He was allegedly last seen on 8 July while attending official function presided over by the Cabinet Secretary of Public Service at Huduma Capital Development. The Honorable Member particularly sought to be informed the status of the investigation into the disappearance of Mr. Abdurrahman, the measures taken to ensure that Mr. Abdurrahman is found and reunited with his family. Mr. Speaker, Abdurrahman Mohammed reported the disappearance of his uncle, Mr. Hussein Abdurrahman Mohammed. Abdi Salam Mohammed reported the disappearance of his uncle, Mr. Hussein Abdurrahman Mohammed, on 10 July 2025 at Wajir Police Station via OP number 17 of July 2025. Subsequently, a missing person signal was circulated to all sub-county police commanders and relevant police formations across the county under the following AEST 161 volume 4 of 277, dated July 10th of 2025. The investigating officer commenced investigations by visiting Hussein's residence in Wajir town and his workplace at Wajir Huduma Center, during which statements were recorded from key individuals to assist in tracing his whereabouts. Mr. Speaker, then on July, Mr. Ahmed Mohamed, a first cousin, reported that attempts to reach Mr. Hussein on 9th July were unsuccessful as his mobile phone was switched off. The family members contacted his mother in Isiolo and his wife, Ms. Fatuma Adan, residing in Ada Dijole, Wajir North Sub-County. Both of them confirmed that he has not been seen. Ahmed further disclosed that Hussein had previously suffered from mental health-related conditions and was known to occasionally go to Islamic missions, that is Tabligh. Mr. Hussein Made Arale, Deputy Manager of Wajir Huduma Center, confirmed that he had worked with Mr. Hussein for 4 years and described their working relationship as cordial. He stated that Mr. Hussein had applied for a 20-day annual leave beginning on the 4th of July, 2025, but was deferred to 8th of July due to the Cabinet Secretary of Public Service and Huduma Capital Development scheduled visit to Tarbaj on 7th July 2025. Mr. Hussein reported to work on the morning of 8th July, handed over duties to his deputy, collected his personal belongings, and proceeded on leave. Mr. Mude provided a copy of the approved leave form to the investigators. Mrs. Fatuma Adan, Mr. Hussein's wife, confirmed that he had traveled home on 4th of July 2025 from Nairobi, where he had gone to seek work transfer. He departed on Wajir Huduma Center on 6th July and was scheduled to commence his leave on 7th July. She noted that their last phone conversation occurred on 8th July at around 21 hours, that is 9 p.m., during which he promised to call back, citing that he was in a noisy environment. Subsequent attempts to reach him on 9th July 2025 were unsuccessful as the phone was off. To facilitate further investigations, a letter dated 11th July 2025 was dispatched to the Safaricom Law Enforcement Liaison Office. Subsequent call data, history, subscriber details, and location records for the period was requested. The response indicated that his last communication was with his wife, and the last known geographic location being within Wajir town. The further request was made to the medical superintendent of Wajir County Referral Hospital, and he responded, confirmed that Mr. Hussein was a registered outpatient client at their mental health department. He had been diagnosed with chronic mental health condition and was under regular pharmacological treatment. With his most recent clinic visit was 7th May of 2025. He had been scheduled for continued monthly follow-up. On the 18th of July, a letter was sent to the chairman of Jamaat Tabligh Makaz Agam Malim Salat, Wajir branch, requesting a list of participants in Tabligh missions from Wajir mosques for July 2025. The response confirmed that Mr. Hussein's name did not appear on the list of the participants. The police inquiry file number 4 of 2005 remains active. Ongoing efforts, including tracing his known associates' frequent locations and liaising with relatives, colleagues, and friends. Importantly, Mr. Hussein Abraham Mohammed is not being held in custody or detained by National Police Service in any of its stations, facilities. The case is still pending under investigations. Mr. Speaker, on the service taken by the National Police Service, measures taken by the National Police Service, investigation, you can see all these measures have been taken, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that investigations are done, and members of public who may have information are encouraged to share with the National Police Service. On the steps being taken to improve the safety and security of residents of Wajir North, Mr. Speaker, there's a dedicated response team, as just like in the other answer, that deals with any cases of abduction at the headquarters, and police are investigating these issues. And we have the Fichua DCI, and we also have active community policing engagements in the area. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. And then the next is Mr. Tubi, Honorable Tubi for Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, I think it was both a question and an answer, Mr. Speaker, because the Honorable Member was saying there is a problem in Isiolo, and he also further said he knows what the problem is. Mr. Speaker, that is a leadership problem. There is a serious leadership wrangles in Isiolo. And Mr. Speaker, Isiolo County has recently witnessed notable criminal activities, particularly during the months of May and June 2025, with incidents among them reflecting growing political instability. These include violent crimes such as assaults and homicides, and property-related crimes such as theft and robbery. The security assessment shows that crimes rate in Isiolo County marked slight decline with 201 cases reported in June compared to 221 cases of crime recorded in May, which representing a decline of 9%. Honorable Speaker, at 29 June 2025, approximately 3,000 individuals alleged to be supporters of the governor and the Speaker violently invaded both the County Assembly and the governor's office. In response to the incident, the County Criminal Investigation Officer initiated investigation, has since opened an inquiry file into the incident. Key officials, including the clerk of the County Assembly and the Sergeant-at-Arms, have been summoned to record statement. However, they are yet to comply. The case is pending and they are under investigations. Mr. Speaker, let me just say this, that because before I put the measures, Mr. Speaker, the problem in Isiolo, as the Speaker said, is leadership. In the Senate, when we served with you, I was tasked by the Speaker in our first term to handle a similar problem in Isiolo. At that time, Mr. Tubi was the Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, there was a serious wrangles in the same county. But it was not at this magnitude that we are witnessing today. Today, this has turned out from the normal disagreements on governance that happened between County Assembly and County Executive to actually active violent acts. And many Assembly MCA members have even reported to me that they fear for their lives. And Mr. Speaker, because of the seriousness of this issue, the Inspector General of Police and ourselves, the Inspector General of Police made sweeping changes in the police service, including DCI officers, the National Police recently. And we are yet to get, we have seen some improvement, and I hope there will be greater improvement because of those changes. On the administration side also, we made sweeping changes with the administrators within Isiolo, just to remove the act of familiarity, Mr. Speaker, that had crippled in the county itself, and to see if the new team can put greater energy to deal with this issue. But also it is emerging, Mr. Speaker, and this is a function of the other house, but they cannot do it without the support of this house, that, Mr. Speaker, there is a lot of misuse of power in counties, both by the executive and the assembly. In some instances, Mr. Speaker, and this has become security issue, and procedural application of the law. And it will interest you, Mr. Speaker, that nowadays, if Assembly Speaker would like to impeach or he is working towards impeaching a governor, if he doesn't get the numbers he wants, they just wake up one day and declare a seat of an MCA vacant, alleging that the MCA has not attended 8 sittings, just to make sure that they reduce the numbers. That is extremely draconian. And a number of county assemblies have reported to us, MCAs have reported fear for their life, but also application of the same. The second, which Mr. Speaker, we must rein on, because this is misuse of power. Even in this house, we disagree. I was actually aware that you are mediating in one of them. And Mr. Speaker, this kind of draconian, here you disagree in this chamber, but I have never, for my period in Parliament, I've never had someone being de-whipped using your office, Mr. Speaker, to facilitate getting of numbers. And that is a very serious issue. The second issue is where a decision is taken by county assembly without any vote. You just see the decision in Gazette notice. You know, you see a change of a speaker from one speaker to another without any vote. You will find a Gazette notice just gazetting that there has been a change of a speaker in Isiolo County. And I thought that was crazy, actually. And being a person who has spent a lot of my time fighting for proper governance, especially devolved units, this has been an issue. So there are things that we will handle from the security sector, but there are governance problems in Isiolo that must be handled because they are spilling over to become security issues. Last, Mr. Speaker, these are some of other issues. The National Police Service is expediting investigation into all reported cases in view of identifying and apprehending, prosecuting the perpetrators according to the law. In fact, there was at some point in Isiolo, it's still in the last 3 months, there were self-abductions just to create chaos in that place, Mr. Speaker. There is intense efforts to sustain operations aimed at eradicating any criminal regroupings. Again, there is emergence of gangs in Isiolo, whose gangs are sustained politically. And this is something we are willing to do. We are actually on it, and the new team that has gone there must deal with it. And then the patrols that are happening. The following measures have been put in place to ensure safety of the MCAs. The National Police Service and the National Government Administrative Office are actively engaging with the local leaders and political leaders across the divide to promote dialogue, reduce political tension, and ensure peaceful existence. I discussed with the regional commissioner 3 days ago, and he told me that a lot of work must be done on that. Members of public are being sensitized on the importance of prompt reporting incidents of criminal activities within their areas, and we could continue doing community barazas, Mr. Speaker, to deal with those issues. On the question of IDs by Honorable Naomi, I think it was a compliment, more than
a compliment.
And she was just asking that we need to intensify these issues, and she was also capturing the problem of drug menace and whatever. Who is Ijara? I think it's the Ijara question. I think the honorable members worked out that there is a brother who was found and left. And Mr. Speaker, we will also continue investigation on the same. On Honorable Ngogoyo, I think I don't know, we were working very closely addressing these issues. It did not require, I don't know where I lost him on the way. But now that he has raised this issue.
The mic.
So, Mr. Speaker, we will retrace our steps and work on those issues to make sure there is proper deployment of the police officers.
Whatever your personal relationships, just answer his question.
Mr. Speaker, I think...
And it was very simple. He has built police stations, chiefs officers. Are you able to help
Mr. Speaker,
put personnel there?
We will actually be able to help him put personnel because we are working on the recruitment. And it is not just confined to his police stations. It's a problem. The reduction of strength across the country is as a result of failure to do any recruitment the last three to 4 years. And Mr. Speaker, we will mitigate those issues as soon as possible. And that applies to Honorable Kagusha
as well.
The area he has discussed or suggested is very well known to me.
Irene Mayaka was
and the relationship
about,
applies to both. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And Irene Mayaka was asking about IDs in schools. You had already answered that. Yes, Kimani, I was closing this session.
So
we started with you. We want us to close with you.
Yes, I want to close. Mine is very simple. I want to urge the Cabinet Secretary for Interior. We have 3 police stations in Molo: Albagon, Mariashoni, and Molo Town. We do not have sufficient vehicles for access security in the area. And if you follow the questions around this room, the targets for security are very certain. The police stations that were targeting Nakuru were Molo, Gilgil, and Naivasha. And you can see the pattern. Countrywide, the most losses were in Kikuyu, Dagoretti, and Molo. So you can actually tell the pattern. So my urge with you is, as we prioritize allocating vehicles and infrastructure for police deployment, there seems to be a serious. So please act accordingly. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You don't need to respond to that. I think just note and do it. Sane, I've closed this session. We now will release the minister. If you find your answer inadequate, follow up with Tongoyo he will get a response for you. Bashir, I'm not giving you any chance. You can't sit out there the whole afternoon, evening, and then when we are closing, you come and raise your hand. Even you, Kipchumba, same. These members have been sitting here throughout. Yes, there is no provision in the standing orders for appreciating a minister. Minister, you are released to go, and your team. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, motion, resolution to hold a Thursday morning sitting.
Majority Leader, where is Naomi Wako? She should not follow the minister instead of prosecuting business. Yep. Can you tell her to come and prosecute her business? You are sitting in for the majority. Yes. We have called order number 8. Okay. Yes. Go to your seat and prosecute that. Is it you now coming in? Yes. Are you moving that motion? Oh, Owen Bayer is here. You owe the House an apology, Owen.
Can do it.
Thank you. Sorry, Honorable Speaker, I want to apologize for that delay. Honorable Speaker, that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 33B, hours of meeting, this House resolved to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, 14th August 2025, commencing at 10 a.m. Let me catch my breath. Honorable Speaker, the intention of looking to have or moving to have a sitting on Thursday, Honorable Speaker, Thursday morning, Honorable Speaker, is that we have important business. And this business, Honorable Speaker, we have to offload. Taking cognizance that we're going on recess, Honorable Speaker, we would like to finish some important business, and so that as we go to recess, we don't have any work remaining. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the leader to second me.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to second this motion on a resolution to hold a Thursday morning sitting. That is tomorrow morning, Honorable Speaker, and as the Deputy Leader of Majority has said, this is in appreciation of that there is important business that we need to conclude before we commence on our recess. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, we were to, from our calendar before the alteration that we did last week on Thursday, our recess was to commence tomorrow evening after the sitting tomorrow, but we changed that to the 19th, which is next Tuesday. So we'll have a morning sitting tomorrow, an afternoon sitting tomorrow, a morning sitting on Tuesday, and an afternoon sitting next week on Tuesday, to allow us to be able to conclude all the business that we have ahead of that recess, so that we may begin our recess from Tuesday evening next week, from the 20th on Wednesday. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I beg to ask members to support this procedural motion so that we may be able to conclude all that business that is ahead of us.
Thank you, honorable members. I now propose the question that pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 33B, hours of meeting, this House resolves to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, 14th August 2025, commencing 10 a.m. May I go ahead and put a question? Yes. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to provisions of Standing Orders 33B, hours of sitting, this House resolves to hold a morning sitting on Thursday, 14th August 2025, commencing at 10 a.m. Will as many of us of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as our contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, special motion, consideration of a nominee for appointment as a member of the Board of Central Bank of Kenya.
So Honorable Speaker, I beg
Chairman Finance, please proceed.
So, Honorable Speaker, I beg to rise to move this House that approves the nomination of Mr. Pius Angasa as a member of the directors of the Central Bank of Kenya. Before I move, Honorable Speaker, I want to congratulate our leaders for being so organized and being very orderly and making sure that our business is taken into consideration in this particular gathering. So, pursuant to Article 231 of the Constitution, Section 10 of the CBK Act, and Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, that this nominee was forwarded to the Parliamentary Committee on Financial Planning by His Excellency the President. The Departmental Committee on Finance and Planning and that of National Assembly and the Standing Committee on the Finance and Budget of the Senate conducted a joint vetting exercise. Honorable Chair, the CBK Board is established under the Section 10 of Cap 491 and is responsible for the following. 1, determining the policy of the bank, excluding monetary policy formulation. 2, setting the bank's objectives and overseeing its financial management and strategic direction. 3, reviewing performance and ensuring the bank meets its mandate. 4, monitoring the governance performance. 5, ensuring policy statements align with the CBK's objectives. And lastly, maintaining oversight on the use of CBK's resources. Honorable Chair, the following are our findings on the nominee. The committee assessed the nominee against criteria including academic qualifications, professional experience, leadership and integrity, financial probity, political neutrality, and conflict of interest. We, however, sought clearance